So Spider-Man Lotus came out today, and I watched it, and I've been waiting 2 years to watch this movie, by the way, and I thought that it was pretty good. Now, of course, this is a spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to spoil a ton of things. Honestly, I'm just going to kind of keep it simple. While watching this movie, I had a certain amount of expectations, okay? Normally with Spider-Man, you have like 3 things: a pretty crazy villain, good charismatic Peter, and a love interest. Those are like the main 3 things. This movie somehow was really good without using the main core things that people think of when they think of Spider-Man. Well, yeah, I mean, it did have a main villain and it did have a love interest, but I gotta say, Peter is very dark in this movie. He's not happy. He's constantly being put down by other people or just in a bad place mentally, and I gotta say that's a very weird way to take on Peter. However, it works very well. I think Warden Wayne does some of the best acting in this movie. I think this movie is like a 50-50 split when it comes to acting. Half the time it's really good, and the other half it's kind of weird dialogue. It's very predictable, and I wouldn't say borderline cringy, but it's not the best dialogue. I saw people on Twitter kind of clowning it and saying, oh, well, it's very cringy and this is dumb. Not really. I think that it's very emotionally invested into Peter. If you're a big Spider-Man fan, you're going to like this movie. If you're someone who just likes to watch action movies and you think that you like Spider-Man, probably you're not going to like this movie. Now, at the start of the movie, there is a very weird scene that I personally don't really care for, and it's a scene of Gwen and Peter, and it's just a full-on kind of, I wouldn't say long take, but it's a decent amount of them just kind of sitting there kind of awkwardly, and it's not the best thing for their relationship. They go to show that Gwen has a big impact on Peter, especially when she dies. By the way, that's not a spoiler, that's literally in the description. I'm not joking. So I do find it kind of odd, but I think it makes up way later in the film. And like I said, the acting is not terrible. For a fan film, it's way above average, and I think that it's pretty good. However, I will say Sean Thomas Reed, who plays Harry, is single-handedly one of the best actors in this movie. Every scene that he is in actually makes the scene better. I haven't really found anything on him. I can't even find his social media, but what I will say is I think he's like a first-time actor, and for this being is like, I'm pretty sure his first time, that's pretty good. I think Warden is a very close second, coming into being one of the best actors in this movie. Like I said, this is an emotional movie. This is not something you go in looking for action. While there was some action in there, I think that every time there was action, it was very good. It was honestly very good. If the whole movie would have been like, I don't know, a 50-50 of action and this story and plot, I do think that people would like this movie a little bit more, because I think this caters to a lot of people that like Spider-Man. However, if you're a casual Spider-Man fan, I don't think you're gonna care for this movie as much, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Also, I do think the soundtrack in this movie is really good. However, I think it's utilized too much. I think there's some scenes that in there that could be cut a little bit differently, and maybe even the editing could have been just a tad bit better, just a tad bit. I think there's a little bit too many transitions in there, but to be honest with you, this is a fan film. It's not something made by $1 billion company, so to be honest with you, that's really nothing at that point. Now, I saw somebody comment that it seemed more like a soap opera, and to be honest with you, I think that's pretty much it. I think that is kind of what it seems like. I've watched a lot of soap operas in my day, and I still watch some right now, and I would say it's a better version of a soap opera with a little bit more action featuring Spider-Man, and to be honest, that's a pretty good compliment, okay? I think that is what they were aiming for, and it's more emotionally invested, and I do like that. And like I said, any scene that did have action in it, I thought that it was very well done, and I think the CGI looked really good. Now, there is some places in the movie that it does kind of go off just a tad bit. It kind of looks just a little bit weird, but in general, I think this movie was done very well. I think that Gavin did a very good job. I still think the editors did a very good job also, and I'm pretty sure Gavin did that too. I think the actors are very good, and I also like the way they did use Flash Thompson, which was pretty cool. And in general, I think this was a pretty solid movie. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the way my rating system works now, which it is new by the way, so the way this works is if it's like a 5, it's average. If it's 4, it's a little bit below average, and I probably won't watch it ever. So yeah, just a heads up. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Spider-Man Lotus a solid 6.5 out of 10.